This episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast is brought to you in partnership with ministryleague.com. We would love for more people to discover this show, so please rate and review us on iTunes or your podcast provider. Feel free to share on your social media and subscribe at benandtravis.com for the free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor podcast with Ben and Travis. I am Travis Creasy with my cohort in crime, Ben Hayes. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great. Excited for this week. It's a big week.
And we also are joined this week by Larry Legend himself, not the guy from the Boston Celtics, but our Larry Legend. Larry Davenport is with us, the guy who for some reason, year in, year out, has been inviting Ben and I to go and just do what we do best, be goofballs for a weekend in Gatlinburg to start. Now we've moved to Pigeon Forge. But Larry, how are you doing, man? I know we got you on a busy week. We appreciate you giving us some time, but how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. This is the peak of my night, hanging out with Ben and Travis. I love this.
Been a down day, huh?
Brings back good memories of Maywood. What can I say?
There you go. Well, Larry, we do appreciate, like I said, you giving us some time leading into the week of CYC. And, I'd love to hear your CYC story, how you first kind of got involved, and then maybe some detail about how long you've kind of been, I don't know if running the show is a great phrase that you would use, but, from a lot of people's perspective, that's kind of what's going on. I know you got lots of help, and you can tell us a little bit about that too.
Well, you say a lot of help, and you're right. There's a lot of people that come up and make CYC successful. As far as getting started in it, let's see. This all happened. The very first CYC happened back in 2000, and there were three of us guys in the area. I was down at Winfield. There was a youth minister at Highland Park, and another youth minister at Cox Boulevard, and between the three of us, that was kind of how CYC had its roots. There had been another youth rally that had taken place in Gatlinburg, and a lot of the congregations around here, they didn't participate in it for whatever reason. And we thought, well, the Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge area, that'd be a nice place to do a retreat. So we just decided to have a retreat for the folks in North Alabama that year. And we had about a little over 300 that came. Ben was there.
Yeah.
Ben was
brought a group.
He brought a group.
And no, I didn't bring a group. I was a group.
Yeah, he was part of our entertainment that year.
Yeah, that's right.
Called the Doughboys. So Ben's been with us from the start, and
that's right.
A lot of good things have happened because of it.
And that was exactly a half of a lifetime ago for me, because I'm 40 and I was 20 in 2000 when you did the first one. Okay. So it's exactly a half of my life has been associated with CYC.
Thanks.
So
Thanks.
You've officially been associated with CYC longer than any other event in your life.
Well, except Maywood.
Okay.
Maywood takes the cake. I've been there, but that's kind of where Ben and Travis started, was at Maywood. So, Maywood, Ben and Travis, and CYC are the three longest, anything. I wasn't even married at that point. So
what year did y'all start coming to CYC as the Ben and Travis, the fun of Ben and Travis?
That's a good quiz question. I'm not sure.
The first Ben and Travis video was 2009.
Okay.
And it was one of those deals where, we filmed it the night before, edited it till like 3 a.m. and then came in and threw it on your, technological guys last minute. And then we realized how much grace and mercy that you had for us and they had for us. But 2009, 2008, somewhere in there.
Yeah, we might have come a year before we did a video. I don't remember if we did the first year without a video or not. But thank you, Brian and Greg, and all you guys who have put up with us through the years of throwing videos at you the last minute.
Yeah, I remember all this. there was a window of opportunity that had come up, and where we needed somebody there, needed a fun segment, and because of what all we had done at Maywood Christian Camp, I mentioned it to some other guys on the board, and those other guys on the board just happened to also be associated with Maywood Christian Camp. So, man, that was an easy sell. And you guys came on, and just it's grown, it's matured. Can we use maturity with Ben and Travis?
I don't know. I'm not sure if that's the right word or not.
False advertisement might be a problem. False advertisement.
Well, we have loved being a part of it, and it's been, it's a highlight of my year. Thankful to get to come up there and hang out every year, and somewhat surprised when, we continue to get asked to come back and hang out, but we're thankful. It's a pleasant surprise. So
we like it. And, in a way, we've kind of developed a formula for CYC now as far as the organization of it, and still a lot of details that go into it, but we got some dependable folks that we count on now. We count on Ben and Travis. We count on the SWAT team. We count on Lonnie Jones. Those three items there, I believe, are stability items for the conference.
Hey, that's 2 out of 3. Include us, Travis. That's pretty good.
Well, it speaks to God's grace, and it speaks to your organizational skills, along with the rest of the board, who we obviously are very thankful for, in being able to keep us from wrecking the whole thing. So, I mean, that's impressive. Still to this day, when Ben and I get together and our wives are around, they just kind of roll their eyes and let us go do our elementary third grade fun, and they get to actually talk to people who are adults. So that's always good.
Our planning board, we've got the work divided into 4 different areas, but our planning board consists of Sonny Owens and Matt Hupel and Josh Webster. Matt covers all the exhibitors that come and make sure that plan's put together. Josh, he handles the crowd control and security. Sonny is just the best person in the world, he and Jackie, to be there where the groups come in and pick up their supplies. There's Sonny there. And can you think of any better person you'd want to be greeting you than Sonny Owens?
No, it's a perfect match for that job.
Uh-huh.
The name fits.
Yes, it does.
Well, and we know you handle a lot of things as well. And I guess that's a question that, I work on a board with M2Y, and we do, it's a very small scale thing for youth ministers, kind of different sort of deal. CYC is bringing your youth group. M2Y is bringing more just yourself, whoever happens to work with youth. And even with it, there's a lot of planning that goes on for just, maybe a little bit over 100 to 200 people. I'm amazed at what you guys pull off for Challenge Youth Conference with thousands. This year a little lower due to COVID and whatever else, but tell me about that process of it going from 300 the first year to where you guys are now, and how have you handled that growth?
The only thing that I can come up with to explain the growth of Challenge Youth Conference is that God just blessed it, because it grew not because of anything that we did. It grew in spite of us. We had a mission that we wanted to be true to the Word. We wanted for God's Word to be presented faithfully by some members of the church that were going to be sound, that had the ability to communicate God's Word, that were equipped with that. And that went not just to the speakers, but also to our song leaders, and to you guys as you came on the stage. And I know a lot of the things that you do are fun, but outside of the fun, there's an element that you represent in the church that's very solid and powerful. So we tried to stay true to keeping those things intact. We spent a lot of time in prayer, and we just surrounded ourselves with a lot of really good people.
Yeah, and it's been such a great blessing to a lot of people. We hear people all the time, talk about it. You hear kids just get excited. It's like that, for some kids it's Maywood, for some kids it's CYC, for some kids it's other camps and other things that go on. But it's great for them to have those. Even Travis and I grew up with Maywood being that center piece of your year. Like, we get to this point and that's kind of the push that gets us through the year. And I think a lot of kids look at CYC that way, is this is the big event that's going to encourage us for the year. And it's not just the conference itself, but the time that they get to spend. Like you said, I think the original intent was sort of a retreat. And so a lot of groups kind of get that retreat with each other.
That was what we planned it for in the beginning. We wanted for it to be geared to a 9th through 12th grade audience. Of course, every congregation that comes might not have a 9th through 12th grade group at their church. So we want for groups that come to use CYC in a way that it'll best benefit their congregation and their work and their ministry. And we'll provide the platform and the teaching and devotionals. And hopefully that's something that helps them to grow. Travis, as a coach, Ben, that anything that you do, a program you put together that's going to be successful, it does take a lot of hard work. You put a lot of work into it. I think it was Stephen Guy that I had in a class at Heritage Christian University. He made a statement one time, and I don't know if it was original with him or not. You may have heard it from others. He said, you pray like everything depends on God, and you work like everything depends on you. And there's a whole lot of people that come into CYC, workers that work like the success of CYC depends on them. So you got people that put their all into it.
Well, we certainly think that I love the retreat style. I think that's still prevalent to a large degree. I know that I've been invited to go back to people's hotels and speak and teach some of their devotionals, whether it's from Jacksonburg, where I grew up going to church, or other congregations who have invited me to that special time. And you definitely have that opportunity amongst a large group to get down to that small group and kind of bring back the lessons that they've heard and kind of talk and discuss those things. And then, of course, I think a lot of the late session are farther out brethren, right? The ones who come from Ohio and West Virginia and maybe even farther. I think the Rays actually came, who usually go to Dallas, actually drove their dad from Missouri one year. And that was really neat. So I think you've got a lot of congregation. You've got I think most of the Shoals area comes in the early session, not all, who kind of get that experience at different things like a Maywood, but you've certainly got people who come and that's kind of maybe the only chance they get to experience something like that. And I think that's really neat. And we've obviously gotten a lot of friends from that. Bryce from Ohio does our videos for us. Yeah. Thank you, Bryce, for making us look good. Takes a lot, but that's just always really neat to me to see, and get a reminder of how really international, but we get a taste nationally of just how big the body of Christ is.
Yeah. And we grew from, and I say we because I feel like I'm a part of CYC in a lot of ways. We've grown from not just Gatlinburg, but now to Dallas, and kind of it's been a little depressing this year from the SWAT team's perspective, because we love that ride out there. We always get a van and we ride together, and we have the best time between the Shoals, because that's where they picked me up, and Dallas. And it's just kind of been a downer this year that we didn't get to go. Obviously know why we didn't get to go with COVID, but I assume that Dallas is still going to continue to take place maybe into the future.
Oh yes, we've already got the Marriott there at the Las Colinas, Marriott Las Colinas. Got it reserved for January of 2022.
Awesome.
So
Great.
we will be back in Dallas.
Sweet. Well, we're excited about that because probably if I had to share my favorite moments of CYC, I could share some and I may do that before we're done, but kind of to kick off that section, Dallas is probably one of my favorites. I like the small, kind of going back to the small conference. It feels a little bit more, of an intimate setting with a smaller group, and the van ride out there and the inside jokes and all the stuff, that end up, it's almost like we have our own little youth group riding out there together of all adults, and the getting to eat at Heart 8 and some of the places that are out there. It's just become kind of a real fun time. And we've missed, not being able to do that this year. So that's probably one of my favorites. So Travis, what's some of your favorite things about CYC through the years?
Well, there's a T-shirt out there somewhere that says CYC loves Travis, and obviously the feeling is mutual. When my diagnosis for leukemia, it was pretty quick out there to the CYC family, which I'm thankful for, all the prayers. And I've had two, and they're almost opposite reactions. It's great. I've got to play the hill. One of my favorite memories was singing my version of Rocky Top and getting booed by at least half the crowd. Which is amazing because I've always wanted to be a professional wrestling heel. The bad guys in TV shows and movies always have the most fun. And then I've also got a standing ovation when I was able to come back to CYC Pigeon Forge after, being diagnosed in 2018. So I guess that's 2019, walking out on the stage. I think I even had the American flag outfit and a standing ovation, which is hard to, kind of get over and go on with the show, because you're like, oh man, that's pretty impressive. But it's kind of mixed feelings on that. But I guess those are my two favorite moments that you've afforded me there, Larry, to get to live out my dream as a heel, pro wrestling heel, and also to know the family and feel the love there.
And speaking of the heel part, you made that joke and then found out, or sang that song, and we found out later there was an actual Tennessee coach in the audience that year, strength and conditioning or something, was in the audience.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Halo's, I'm not sure if this is right or not, but Rhonda and Halo, the brother-in-law, Herb, sometimes comes to CYC, I think, and he's a vice president at UT, so I wouldn't be surprised. He might have been in the crowd that day too. But
excellent.
Anyway, so Travis does his best to offend people any opportunity he gets.
There you go.
Larry, speaking of that, Larry's probably gotten some letters about Ben and Travis every now and then, but we'll just save that for another time. So, Larry, what would be your favorite moment? The letters might not be, but
there's a lot of favorite moments of CYC. The very first year of CYC, you just can't duplicate the first year. The first year is always something special. So the first year was a favorite moment. The second year was when Lonnie became a part of CYC, and the theme was "Is It in You?" And he had all the lessons that year. He spoke on Friday night. He spoke on Saturday. He spoke on Saturday night. He spoke on Sunday morning. And all of his lessons dealt with the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they were some of the most powerful lessons I've heard. But probably...
that song is still in my head, by the way. I can sing that line, "Is It in You?" Because there was a song for that year. Remember, he wrote a song for it.
The song leader that year actually wrote a song that he came and taught at CYC. I just thought that was something that he thought so much of us that he would sit down and take the time to write that.
It was really cool.
So that was cool. And the group from Freed Hardeman, the ambassadors that year, they had a song about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And one of the guys on the board, he thought that they just came up with that off the cuff because they were at the conference.
Wow.
That's funny.
But it was 1 year in Dallas. Probably, I think it was our third or fourth year in Dallas. We had moved to it was a Hilton property, and after the session on Saturday night, we were kind of closing things up and making sure the conference room was secured. And as we were walking back towards the elevators to go up to our room, a lot of the groups had assembled there in the lobby, and they had started singing.
Yeah.
And so we heard it as we went around the corner, and so we just kind of walked up behind them, and we joined in the singing too. And while we were standing there, there were some hotel guests that came in, and there had been a symphony in town that night. Yeah. And there were a couple of ladies that came in. One of them was carrying a cello case, and the other one had a violin case, and they just stopped there in the lobby, and they were listening. And I noticed one of them looked over at the other one, and she mouthed the words. She said, "That's a cappella." And you know, we don't think about that too much, but to them, that was just incredible what they were hearing. Well, we went ahead and moved on to the elevator while the kids were still singing. These two ladies, they were in the elevator with us, and the lady with the cello case, she was standing there in the corner, just looking down, just staring, and just muttering, "That was beautiful." Just the impact that it had on somebody that did not know anything about us, but just walked in and what they observed, it had an impact on them.
Yeah, and just that here's a bunch of teenagers, and there's some adults scattered in, but teenagers that are making a sound so beautiful that you get the attention of people who play in an orchestra. That's really impressive. That one has stuck with me too. I remember you telling that story, so that's incredible. And I would probably go back to, I think you said I've been there from the beginning. I know that I was there that first year. I know I was there that second year because I remember the song. I know there was a year or two in there I think I missed for something. I don't remember why. I couldn't bring a group and then I know one year my son was born. So I missed 1 year when Jackson, who is 16 now, was born. But other than that, I think we've been there pretty much every year. But I remember that year playing. I had a video the other day. We came across the video of us playing at CYC that first year. I think I sent you some pictures of it the night we were watching it at my in-laws' house. We found the VHS tape of us playing on that first CYC, and that was incredible. It was even more incredible that we got there because halfway or not even halfway, about 3 hours out of Freed Hardeman, our car broke down on the side of the road, and Phil, Dean, and I were stuck in a little roadside cafe for, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours waiting. And Danny Morris came and picked us up and took us to, I think it was his mother lived near Pigeon Forge, and I think we ended up staying there the night. We ended up making it and playing that night. But I just remember him driving all the way back to 3 hours outside of Freed Hardeman to pick us up and bring us so that we could be at CYC that year. So,
did it snow on y'all coming up too that year?
Yeah, I think it did. I think there was a little bit of that going on, but my car just broke down on us, and we have some pretty funny stories from the little roadside cafe, but we might have to share those in a different format, but they were pretty funny. Some of the things that happened.
I think the trip from Henderson to Gatlinburg has to rival my trip to India on distance. Like that just seems like it's got to be the longest trip ever. Speaking of
the state of Tennessee is the longest state ever.
So long,
it seems like.
When I was in the hospital, I was getting bukus and bukus and bukus of letters. And I remember the mail lady bringing in boxes and sticking and like ask, "Who are you? Are you some like star or some kind of, who are you?" I mean, they just keep at who. We've never seen anybody get as much mail in Huntsville Hospital as you have. Who are you? And I'm like, I'm just a nobody, right? I'm just loved by people who don't know me that well, but they know me enough to send me letters, But that obviously a lot of that's an impact from CYC, getting letters from youth groups, from, that people I've not met, but know me through CYC and love me enough to send me those. So, I mean, the impact goes on and on. And as anything that has to do with Christ, we will never know the impact of such events until the day we enter the kingdom with Christ. Christ comes and gets us and takes us there. So Larry, I certainly appreciate the things that you do. I appreciate your entire team, all those people who make it happen, and certainly want to thank them through this podcast. Anything else you'd like to share with us, Larry, before we wrap up?
Any last second things that need to be known before people get to CYC?
JJ and I are going to do a video in the next couple of days that are going to tell about things that you need to know before you come to CYC.
Good deal.
We're going to share all those things with you. But CYC, one of the best benefits has been the relationships. So many relationships that have been built through CYC, and those are so cherished. We love all the relationships. I know you love the relationships, and those just they tend to grow deeper and stronger and more each year.
We are thankful for you guys.
I do want to make sure that we did mention that you are the brother of one of our favorite guests we've ever had, right? I did mention that.
I don't know if we mentioned that yet. Why don't you tell about
Larry that? Is the brother of Cayron Man, the greatest guest in the history, right? Any good idea that we have is probably Cayron Man has sent us a text going, "Hey, you guys should do this." Game show, videos, whatever. And so, we're just tremendously blessed by the power sibling group there of Larry Davenport and Cayron Man.
She's a celebrity for sure. Cayron she's so creative.
Absolutely.
And that was passed on to her from our mother. My mother was very creative, just great imagination, and Cayron's got those traits as well.
Yeah, Cayron is a great fan of the show, has been a great support for me personally through the years, but is also a part of our sponsorship that we make mention of quite often, Serenity Counseling. So she's a part of the team over there and some of the things that they do. And so we're just really thankful for her and the impact she's had on our lives. The Davenport family, of course, your family, your dad and mom were members here at Highland Park where I work, and Dad still is, and just appreciate Austin so much and love him to death as well. But you guys have made a great impact on our lives.
Well, I do want to take the opportunity before we close out to remind everybody that through CYC weekend on March 1st, if we hit 1,000 email subscribers, we'll be drawing for a free set of AirPods Pro for anybody who subscribes to our email list, benandtravis.com. Second of all, joins our group, facebook.com/groups/Ben and Travis, and then gives us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast provider. And we love nothing more than to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark and be able to give out one of those come March 2nd. So be sure to be doing that. Guys, I appreciate your time with us. Larry, can't wait for CYC weekend. We're super excited and can't wait to see you guys in person. We talk a lot about the importance of mental and emotional health on the podcast. But what if you're concerned about the emotional health of a child? Sometimes after a major change, a child may begin to struggle emotionally or socially. You can tell that they are struggling because they might begin to behave badly or have extreme feelings of worry or sadness. They might even engage in destructive behaviors or regress in their normal development. Children don't have the ability to express their concerns verbally as you and I do. Play therapy might be the answer. In play therapy, toys are like the child's words, and play is the child's language. Amy Thompson at Serenity Counseling helps children who may be struggling emotionally or socially learn more adaptive behaviors. Through play therapy, a child can also learn to communicate with others, express feelings, develop problem-solving skills, and learn a variety of ways of relating to others. Give Amy a call at 256-263-6367 to find out more about how play therapy might be just what you've been searching for. HCU offers dual enrollment credit. Know a high schooler who needs a college credit? Heritage Christian University offers general education courses so your high schooler can get ahead. Feel at ease knowing your child will have Christian instructors. Only $100 per class. To find out more, email rharrison@hcu.edu or click Apply Now at www.hcu.edu.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.